Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your grand finals for the Philippines Dota 2 Allstars Invitational. Pagibig.TnC, the representative from the Philippines to the Asia, so really the best Dota 2 team in Pinoy Dota. Over the past couple months, they are going to be playing on the dire side. Mineski won the toss. They elected to receive the Radiant, and they will be, of course, spearheaded by Bimbo. Mineski, a team that has looked very weak in Dota 2 prior to this event, but they have looked rather strong today. This is a best out of 3 format. Winner takes a bunch of hardware prizes. No real cash on the line this time around, but of course, pride is at stake as well. I'm LD, and I'm joined here today by Nebula. Some of you may remember him from the International too. He was on the Analyst panel and has been in a bit of, well, hibernation, I guess, since then.
No, you know you haven't casted it long enough when you need an introduction as to who you are. That's fantastic. Wonderful. Yeah, man, I watched the last game, Schwagerfing. I got home just in time to catch that. Literally, I turned it on and it was like a minute into the game. Mineski looked good. I mean, Shadow Fiend was sweet. I was kind of rooting for Sniper, to be honest, just because I want to see more Sniper play. I really like that hero, even though it kind of, it's terrible. But I really wanted it to win just to see more picks. Yeah,
it's really vulnerable. They picked a lot of
everything.
Yeah, well, especially the other picks. Like they picked a Tide who's not really great in the tri lane. They had the Enigma pick, and they ended up running him as their off lane. But even if they had run him as a jungle, he's weak to that. So I just felt like the draft pretty much spelled doom for MSI Evolution Gaming Team. But even so, Mineski, they executed quite well. And now we see a hero that this guy has been called broken by 2009. The Chinese commentator, he looked broken in the G1 League. It's the Magnetar. Just such a ridiculous hero.
I think he's pretty broken. I mean, I don't really think he's that like insanely OP. I just think teams haven't really gotten good at like stopping it yet. Typically what happens anytime a hero gets released and they've got a lot of buffs is they get a lot of play, and they'll typically dominate the early part of the scene as people kind of get, understand how to play it. Mm-hmm. But what happens after that is people then figure out how to counteract it, how to play against it, how to pick and ban against it. Sometimes the solution is just actually banning it. Sometimes the solution is just moving it into the ban phase and just not letting people have it. But other times you see it, with all sorts of heroes. Like Prophet used to be a first pick or first ban all the time, and now teams are much more willing to give it away because they know how to counteract it.
Yeah, this is it does seem like a very versatile, strong hero. Maybe not broken. Well, I guess the verdict is out on that to some extent, but pretty reliable 1200 range escape mechanism. Probably the best anti-pushing melee hero in the game, with that shockwave being spammable, low mana cost.
Yeah.
So he gives you anti-push, he gives you great escape mechanism, and then, of course, he gives you the amazing AoE team fight with reverse polarity. But I think the worst thing for me, or the most annoying thing to play against, is he makes any carry strong, just giving them all that insane damage with Empower. So it's like, I feel like it's Beastmaster on steroids to a certain extent.
Yeah, it really is. He lanes so well. He lanes better than a Beastmaster, and he has probably better initiation. I mean, Skewer's range is really ridiculous. You Skewer in or just blink in an ultimate, you're really going to decimate so many heroes. And you couple that with the massive amount of AoE heroes that really are seeing play and are continuing to. I mean, Magnus is partly responsible for this, but I mean, Jakiro has been got a number of buffs, so Jakiro sees a ton more play. You couple that with Magnus, and all of a sudden you've got a devastating combo. So, I think it's going to be around for a while. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they handle this, though. Mineski go for the Prophet, the Shadow Fiend, going for kind of like a spread the map, get everybody farm, sort of your traditional Mineski style of Dota. Go for the split push, go for, get the semi-carries pretty big. TNC, a team, although they're from the Philippines, they don't really play as much, especially, even Mineski has shown some different picks today, but you still expect the really strong aggressive tri-lane and the 2 strong solos. They could still go for that with Prophet, Shadow Fiend, and then Jakiro as the tri-lane, but that's what TNC is banning out. They're getting rid of the Naga, probably the best tri-lane melee hero for sort of farmer as far as that goes. There's a Sven in the pool, though, so I feel like they have their options if they want to go tri-lane, and, well, we'll have to see if TNC can deal with that.
Yeah, it's been the rise of Sven, or the resurgence of Sven, really. I mean, he's gotten a series of buffs from patches 7.3 through 7.5. The biggest one for me was the Warcry buff. 16 AoE armor and a 900 range, and it lasts for quite a while. It's pretty ridiculous. Plus, I mean, move speed, obviously insane. So, yeah, I fully expect to see. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Spin here. I mean, it's going to be super powerful. And Spin plus Magnus, by the way, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, if it actually, like you said, it could go both ways. It could be TNC who pick it up, and Sven could be their safe lane farmer, Queen of Pain mid, Magnus off lane. That's like too much cleave. At that point, it's better. It's better not to hit the enemy hero, even though, like in some cases, it is already. Depending
You're in the Kunkka position where you're just looking for range creeps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm kind of curious to see how both teams round out this draft. You know, I feel like TNC. A bit more versatile with their picks. Sure, you've got the Prophet who can do anything in the laning stage, but although the lanes might be predictable, their heroes are just so strong in those positions. Queen of Pain mid, Magnus off lane. Like, it doesn't even matter, I think, if you know what they're going to do. It's still a question of, like, how do you shut these heroes down?
Yeah, I'm really interested by what Mineski do here because there's a potential here to kind of fold the Queen of Pain because if they go for a tri lane and they're not hyper aggressive about it and they do want to spread the map and try and dual push, it basically allows Queen of Pain to kill whoever she wants. The more you spread out against the Queen of Pain, the more she's going to be able to just remove a hero from the I'm going to go bot and I'm going to kill this hero now. Where's the Shadow Fiend at? I'm going to go kill the Shadow Fiend next. If you don't have a quick way to get to each other, I mean, Prophet can TP, that's a little bit, but I mean, if she goes after Prophet, what are you going to do? Shadow Demon does a nice job of kind of counteracting that, though. Queen of Pain can't be quite as aggressive about diving against an SD.
This is also, by the way, this hero is the bane of Slardar's existence. Remove that sprint, remove amplify damage, or not amplify damage, but obviously just make him very slow, remove sprint. If he tries to go in on anyone, you disrupt yourself, you disrupt your teammate. And just generally be a total pain in the ass. This is probably the hardest counter to Slardar in the game. The concern for me, though, is they still don't have much team fight. All they've really got as far as reliable stuns and an engagement, it's just Ice Path. Pretty much it comes down to like a really fat Prophet and a Shadow Fiend getting a BKB. And even then, you still got to worry about Bash. You still got to worry about reverse polarity. I don't know about this Mineski draft, but it is a powerful tri-lane. Jakiro, Shadow Demon +1. I feel like they have to win that lane, though, or they're just going to be in a lot of trouble come mid-game.
Yeah, and even if they pick up the Sven, which is, I think, what they're looking for here, the Slardar pick is pretty smart here because Slardar even counteracts some of the natural tankiness from the Sven. Though I played a pub, I think, the other day, and I noticed that when you have armor up and Slardar ultis you, you still have, like, positive armor. You're one of the few heroes that ends up with positive armor still. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And Amplify damage got buffed as well, but, you know, the two sort of patch or two ago, but the two sort of counteract each other. Enigma as the final pick. Oh, this is a lot of stuns.
That is a lot of AoE.
Yeah, this is kind of Silencer. Is it time for a Silencer pick?
Yes, let's do it.
Doesn't
Silencer.
Doesn't fit the lanes at all. Doesn't. Well, I guess
kind of bad.
Yeah.
But I want to see it.
But that's, I mean, and on paper, that's really the best pick to counter these big team fight lineups. Is, I guess the one thing they've going for them is Prophet buybacks as well. So sure, he dies in one fight, but if he's farmed enough, buyback, come back to the fight again, and maybe you could pick off the stragglers. They can't
That's a
clash.
perfect strategy.
Yeah, they can't clash. They can't clash head on though after the 10 to 15 minute mark. This is going to be tough. I really think TNC is the better draft, but we'll see. Maybe Mineski have an X factor in mind. Maybe it's going to be. I don't know. I mean, what do you go for here as this final pick? We talked about Sven. Who else?
I mean, I wouldn't get a Void, not against a Rubik, and certainly not with all those AoE stuns.
Dragon Knight?
I think, yeah, Dragon Knight wouldn't be terrible. I mean, again, you're kind of picking a tanky hero that Slardar can't really just amp down and kill. See, the problem here, I like that your strategy, by the way, was to die and buy back. anytime your team strategy is focused around one of your heroes dying and buying back, it's probably not going to be a good game. Just saying.
I'm just saying, I've seen Mineski win a lot of games with, like, backdooring, split pushing, like being behind in fights, but just having like more buybacks and boots of travel, shadow blades. This is sometimes what Mineski turned to, but I mean, the one thing about TNC's lineup, the lane's fairly predictable. You expect to see that Magnus off lane, the Enigma jungling, defensively most likely, Queen of Pain or Slardar. Either one could go mid, but probably the Queen of Pain mid, and then I mentioned that Slardar could go mid because a lot of the Pinoy teams do like to run their solo mid Slardar and Bottle Crow a lot, but then Rubik, Slardar are the safe lane, and here we go. Here's a hero that's like carry, ganker, and pretty obnoxious all around, all in one kind of package deal. They get the tiny, and it's a bimbo tiny. It is a J tiny.
Nice. Yeah, you often don't see tiny without the wisp. Of course, no wisp in this game. So, yeah, obviously, talking about tiny, pretty spot on there. He's a carry that also, I mean, is primarily a ganger. I really like the evolution of tiny. You could really probably write a thesis paper on the evolution of tiny in the Dota scene. Back in the day, he was like solo mid, or he was a ganger. Then he turned into like solo mid, just roam the map, and then he turned into just a primary carry. He can do it all, really.
Yeah.
Except for attack and range, obviously. He sucks at that.
He can, and as we introduce the players, well, let's do it real quickly, but Bimbo, or Jay, going to be handling that Tiny. He's the captain for the squad. He is also a little bit tired. He was anxious to get this game started, so it is starting a bit earlier than what we had it projected to on the websites out there. Ghost of Gamers, Join Dota, Team Liquid, etc. So, guys, if you haven't already done so, go post to Facebook, tweet out about this one. This is your grand finals, the Philippines Dota 2 All-Stars Invitational. Not too much money on the line, but lots of hardware prizes. I think more importantly, just great practice for these Filipino teams who haven't gotten too much of it in Dota 2. They should be well prepared for that, and I thought my Dota was muted, but Bimbo's Tiny is kind of unusual. He really favors, like, the utility build. The Yule Scepter, the Force Staff, the Blink Dagger. I haven't seen him go for, you know, the Phase Boots, Drums, Aghanims, Mantle, like the traditional carry, so we'll see what he does. wootz on the Jakiro, SEL on the Shadow Demon, and, of course, Mr. Swish, a former Dustbin member, not going to be playing against Ninja Boogie, who does stand in for TNC, but he's not here today, so Mr. Swish playing that solo mid Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, so going back to the Tiny real fast, it's a little bit more like an old school bamboo Tiny with the double mobility of the Blink and Force Staff, yeah?
Yeah, that's what Jay likes, is just like all the utility items. But we'll see. He might go. Maybe he'll go for the carry Tiny build this game.
Pretty sweet. On the Dire side, we do have jessievash playing that off-lane Magnus, as you predicted. Yanni going to be middle of that Queen of Pain. It looks like Fox's Enigma is going to deny a creep here in mid, then go into the jungle. Meanwhile, up top, we got Chin playing the Rubik. That's a little confusing. And Ryo, I can't pronounce that. Ryoir?
Yeah.
Ryoir?
Ryo.
How do you...
I'm just going to call him Ryo. I think that's a little bit easier for us.
All right. Hadouken. Call him
Cast also has, or Chen also has another name. He's known as Cast. The captain for this team. So if it makes your life easier, you can call him Cast. But I like the lane so far from TNC. I don't really feel like there's too many weak spots, and Prophet not going to do a whole lot in this top lane.
Jakiro just completely annihilated Enigma's jungling presence.
This is going to be our first blood. jessievash is going to skewer him in, taking him low, braiding him down, and that's the first blood. The off-lane Magnus, that's kind of a maneuver we expect to see from Bounty Hunter, but we're actually seeing it from a Magnetar. Great play by him. Early movement.
Just shows his versatility, man. Once you get level 2, once you get that skewer, really, you just get at level 1. You really can gank anybody. I mean, at 1200 or 1150, I thought it was 1200. No, I'm looking at the wrong one. My apologies. Yeah, 1200 range on a skewer is really sick at level 1. I want to point out that Jakiro just kind of shut down Enigma's jungle, by the way. Enigma converted those first creeps, and Jakiro just went in and immediately killed them all. He's trying to do it again, but this time Rubik going to come around here, lift him up, throw him back. Looks like maybe we're going to get a little bit more damage on him. I don't think they can actually kill him unless Queen of Pain goes up to help out.
Yanni's got to want this kill, but he's not even bothering yet. The Ice Path on 2, still alive. wootz.
He can salve. He can salve.
He's so dead. Like, there's just no way that he gets out of this one, although they're leaving him to go. Now they're running back in. Are they really going to let him escape?
I don't think they can actually kill him. If Queen of Pain goes there, I think they kill him, but Queen of Pain wanted nothing to do with it. I think she just wants to farm.
I think it's worth it. I mean, it's not that far out of your way, but hey, she doesn't want to leave that mid lane. It was pushing, so it would have been a bit of... golden experience loss. Nope, here comes the Magnetar. jessievash. How are they not killing this Jakiro? Haystorm picked up. That's what they were waiting for. Now wootz will fall. Don't really want to skewer and drive him closer to his team. Ice Path will hit on Magnus and just delaying the inevitable, but he has journeyed. I'm just going to draw, like, he literally traveled like 8,000 units before they killed him.
Just roaming around the map, getting a little look at all the surroundings. We're gonna have a gang now in middle off that skewer, of course, of the haste. I think that was the plan all along. He was gonna wait for 2 minutes, knew a haste was gonna spawn, pick up the haste, and then go kill him.
Yeah, jessievash is a pretty big playmaker for TNC, and well, he's delivering. I mean, this is also the weakness of that solo mid Shadow Fiend, and not only that, but the greediness to not even have a support near this lane. You know, just have your Prophet in the jungle, have Shadow Demon down in the bottom lane. I'm really not sure why he's still here. This lane is empty, and even if Magnus shows up, Tiny's okay against him. This Shadow Fiend needs help. He needs a bailout.
Yeah, I mean, I think primarily one of the reasons that Queen of Pain chose not to leave middle to go after him is because he doesn't want to give Shadow Fiend any of those early creep kills. Like, Shadow Fiend really doesn't have a whole lot. He's only got 6 souls right now. That's primarily because Queen of Pain has just been harassing him so well and last hitting so well. If you keep Shadow Fiend down, he's tied for the second lowest base damage. In the game, like, he's really reliant upon those early souls to do anything in lane, so I think that was primarily the reason, because she knew if she went and got that kill, that'd probably give Shadow Fiend, 3, 4, 5 creep kills.
jessievash. Oh, a little bit lucky. I think 716 just spotted him out. TP'd directly on top of him, but he was ready for round 3, and I think that without that teleport, that's probably another kill. This is a problem for Mr. Swish. It's already a pretty hard matchup, 1v1 against Queen of Pain.
It might be a kill anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they could even dive this. Level 5 Queen of Pain, level... Oh, she hasn't gone for 3 points in Scream. Went for 2 in Shadow Strike, and, well, might make the tower diving a bit more time-consuming. Disruption is here. Now the Shadow Strike. Swish being brought low, and now Soul Catcher, jessievash. They just don't have the damage. That's... Oh, maybe they do. Ice Path, but even so... Yeah. Look at this hero! Oh my god, this hero. That is so obnoxious.
Yeah, Skewer's really, really strong. I think if I were to try and balance that hero just on the fly, I think I would just lower the Skewer range or make it scale. Like, 1200 level 1 is really pretty sick.
Right, and also being able to cliff walk as well. And
yeah.
By the way, you can also reposition the enemy team. Oh, we saw some pretty cute stuff in G1 where, you know, Magnus blinks into the enemy team and then skewers one of the supports back to his team's waiting arm. So it's like swap, except you don't leave yourself to die. You get back to the rest of the team safely.
It's like some combination of waveform and swap. Like, it does 280 damage as well when it's leveled up, and it has a 40% slow. And it's your primary escape mechanism. Like, it's pretty sick.
It does have a long cooldown. That's the one thing that works against it. Middle lane, they just keep the pressure up on Mr. Swish. This is giving Tiny time to free farm. He is our lead farmer this game, but Queen of Pain, Slardar, mostly keeping the pace. So I think they're getting decent trades, and although Shadow Fiend's getting some CS, 12 and 4, he's... All these deaths, I mean, 14 souls, it's okay. Actually, it's better than I expected, to be honest. I guess he's been getting most of them since his last death.
Yeah, I mean, once you start getting some, you get the next ones a lot faster. I mean, he's up to 81 damage now, so Queen of Pain can't outlast him anymore. If he times it properly, he should be getting them. And because of how much Magnus was dancing around there down on the jungle lane, he knew that he wasn't actually going to get ganged, so he could go get some, which is paying off pretty big for him. Now, what I mentioned, Tiny does have some phase boots now. You were talking about potentially going into the Blink 4 staff. Does he normally get phases even in that build?
No, he usually goes for Arcanes, and I think this is the better choice. You know, you're getting free farm with Tiny, your Shadow Fiend's getting shut down. You got to go for more of a carry build. I think if you go for the utility build, they just have too much counter initiation. You've got to be able to, you know, do sustained burst damage, not just jump in. And also, there aren't that many easy kills. I mean, Magnus is tanky. They're going to have an early mech from this jungle Enigma. Well, I say they will. He's not actually farming that officially, but relatively soon, and Slardar pretty tanky. So I think this is the right build.
Well, actually, Jakiro, early on, despite his death, did do a pretty decent job shutting down Enigma's jungle. I mean, his first 2 Eidolon sets got killed.
Yes, you're right.
He didn't even get to kill those creep camps, so he was neutered pretty hardcore there. And of course, Enigma doesn't really have a whole lot of mana. He's reliant upon clarities in jungle until you can get that soul ring. So I think he was actually forced to go back and get mana. Either that or he's just been sitting on no mana the whole time.
Oh, look at this movement from Cast. Observer Ward placed on the lane. I gotta say, TNC, like, they really don't play like other Filipino teams. They're much more sort of coordinated and patient, and like their timings are a little bit more polished. Here we go onto that top lane. Easy kill for 716. Great movement from Cass. The captain just setting up kills for the squad, and now Slardar hits level 7. He's got that level 4 amplify damage, or not level 4, level 1 amplify damage. But
wow, that's impressive.
This doesn't even exist, right? But -8 armor, and that hurts Tiny. We haven't really talked about this, but Tiny has very low base armor.
Yeah, he's got none, right? He's got like 1. Yeah, he's got 1 base armor. Like, he's basically a Doom. He's just sitting on nothing. Doom actually has 0. Poor Doom.
Yeah, and even when a Doom's like level 5 or 6, he's still a 0. It's so...
It doesn't make any sense. He's made of rocks. How does he have no armor? Have you ever tried to hit a rock with a sword?
Yeah,
I mean, you ever tried to do it?
He gets a little bit from Craggy, but even so, it's subpar. It's nothing like... You know, we mentioned the Sven as a possibility for Mineski. Then you're sitting pretty against Slardar, but without that Warcry, it's a little bit tougher. I do like what they're doing with Mr. Swish. They're just keeping him out of that middle lane, because guess who's camped here? jessievash. Just this guy. It's like, if I'm not going to have fun bottom, then you're definitely not having fun mid, Mr. Swish.
Yeah, now the downside to this is he is only level 3 right now. I mean, he's had a really strong impact on the game. This obviously has been going well. But pretty soon he's going to need to start getting levels, because Magnus does actually need quite a bit of levels. You want to have that Empower when it gets into the later phases to help out your Slardar, who's farming relatively well, and he's going to be very strong. So if he does get Empower, it's going to be quite potent. And you want to level up Shockwave, and you want to level up Skewer, and of course you need your ultimate, so he does quite need a bit of levels.
Yeah, you're right. He definitely does, and it also will make their Slardar a whole lot stronger. In comes jessievash Skewer. Oh, it's gonna hit, and this should be 2 kills as well. Cell gonna fall to this. TNC just defensive disruption, only really delaying the inevitable. Whoa, maybe not. Oh man. Everybody just barely misfiring there, but they do pick up the kill in the end.
TNC having a little bit of problems there with their clicking of heroes with their ultimate or with their casts, but they do get the kill there.
It was a
of
good
course.
disruption. It was pretty well timed.
Yeah, a decent way to get more XP, of course, is just continue killing heroes. That appears to be jessievash's plan here. Meanwhile, we have another gang up top. Poor 716. He's just a constant target. Like, he can't do anything. If they dive on him, the combination of lift plus stun, he's never going to be able to TP out. And he has basically no items.
Well, this is what we talked about TNC needing to do is, well, or rather the weakness of Mineski as well is, you know, they needed to kind of win this laning stage because in the mid game it's going to be tough. Avalanche will hit on 3, but where's the follow-up toss on 2, but it doesn't hit Fox. The black hole now turning this fight around. Jay dropping low, so too is Fox. Fox will fall. Now into jessievash, sprouted up, and in comes Mr. Swish. Whiffs the first raise, double kill for Jay. And this is crucial. Jay's got to keep the movement going around the map because once TNC start grouping up, which will be delayed, like you said, by the Magnetar not leveling that quickly. But once they start grouping up, these sorts of kills won't be possible, or at least not as easily. But nice rotation by Mineski and bit of an overextension from TNC.
Very interesting choice by Tiny here, opting to pick up a hand of Midas.
Whoa.
He bought a Midas and then immediately TP top, so I fully expect him to want to roam the map to give them a lot of gang presence while going a carry build.
And they lost the courier as well. This is the mechanics for the courier are a bit different in Dota 2, and I know Mineski has been playing a lot of Dota 1. We have SMM coming up; they're competing in it, so maybe that's contributing. But I've seen more courier deaths today than I have in a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
I just saw the one game, so I haven't been able to. I did want to point out, we have another gang up top, our gang in River, rather. Nice throw by Rubik, though, putting Shadow Fiend up on the hill, so you buy a little bit of time, but a TP in from the Fury, of course, giving that global presence. This is what they need to keep doing. They need to continue getting kills like this, because as the game gets into the later phases, that Slardar Magnus combo is going to become a really big problem.
He's almost got a blink on Slardar as well.
He does indeed. So going back to my tiny point, what I think his plan here is, or what I thought his plan was to continue the pressure as far as ganging goes, while getting farm based upon his Midas. So trying to get kills and using the Midas to basically get farm while continuing his gang. But it looks like he's actually just going to continue to rise.
Well, Tiny is one of the hardest carries in the game as it goes later, and this is kind of the silly thing about the hero. He's really... Oh, Yanni might dive in a lane. Where's that Prophet? No TP. Ult on cooldown. Won't be able to pick up the kill. But Shadow Fiend now kind of ushering heroes out of his lane. Not really what you expect to see, but he is catching up, and I gotta say, Mr. Swish, playing the Shadow Fiend, this is a pretty good comeback hero. Farms very quickly. Generally, you want to have a good start. You can be burst down, but if they're not killing him, he's going to catch up and farm at quite a rapid rate, and they've also got the Midas on Tiny, so Mineski, maybe they can outfarm their opponents. They can't really fight TNC head-on in the mid-game, but if they've got the Hex on the Prophet, well, a long way from that, but if they get those big items up, they have the 3 farm semi-carries, maybe they can do this.
Yeah, I like that you're talking about him catching up, and he's finally got himself some treads a minute to 11 and a half. That said, you're spot
levels,
on.
Though.
You're spot on. Shadow Fiend is the definition of a burst farmer. He cuts down creep waves instantaneously. As long as he keeps his mobility up and keeps going after creep waves, I mean, he's going to get fat. And of course, drums are now finished on Tiny, so he is going to go just straight carry. The ldOTA coming in here, dropping off. It looks like the Vanguard, not an armlet.
This is potentially the death of that Slardar. Doesn't have a Quelling Blade, doesn't have Tangos, but he will. Oh, he's going to surge at possibly the worst time. The sprint TP forward from Prophet. No Sprout crush on 2. What a crush! And the Ice Path won't hit. Great
Vanguard
escape.
saved his life there. He literally got the Vanguard delivered, and then they initiated on him. He got down to about 300 HP, and I'm pretty sure with the block plus the regen that actually saved his life.
Yeah, also the timing for sprint was crucial, because he turned it on like after the Tiny's burst damage came out. So he didn't take the extra damage from that, from the sprint. If he had, he probably dies there. So a combination of that plus Prophet, just maybe if he TP'd a few seconds later, gone for a later Sprout, would have got it. But middle lane, it's Yanni, who gets disrupted. Oh, not the best combo, not the best timing, but he's trapped. He's trapped, and now the Purge is bringing him low. Black Hole catches 3. Oh my goodness, Chan would love to have him. Oh, he's trying to follow up. Magnetar on 3. This is the team fight. This is, well, devastation, but will it be enough?
I don't know. Let's turn it around here. Fury, after going after Chan, he's taking a bunch of damage. Toss on the Shadow Fiend gets him away from his teammates and gets the kill. It looks like they may pick off Vash. Yep, Vash is probably going to go down, but a nice crush. They're catching 2 more. WTZ, rather. The Jakiro actually managing to keep him alive. They're going after Slardar. Next Slardar is going to go down. They'll get the Fury as well. This is chaos. This is something... Oh, what a raise!
Triple kill from the Tiny. Jay with drums, Midas, and another 1,400 gold as Bimbo really leading his team back into this game. Blink forward for Queen of Pain. The ult only hits one. Now Yanni's dropping low. He almost has 3 kills, and he gets none. Mr. Swish drills him with the raises, and all of a sudden, Mineski storms back into a game that looked to be a bit of a disaster for them.
Man, that team fight was insane. There was like 2 sets of turnarounds. It was a really nice initiation. The Black Hole caught 3. They followed it up with a Magnus ultimate, but then the counter gang, oh, that was so good. The Twin-Headed Dragon did so much work there and managed to get away with 18 HP. That was clutch.
Look at the experience graph. It's just an absolute, it's like a 4,000 experience swing in a matter of maybe a minute or two. Just insane the way this game has turned around. And now Shadow Fiend, suddenly level 11, has an Ogre Club, gonna have his BKB soon. There are ways to deal with that, but he's getting tanky. Slardar, only 1,200, doesn't have the Blink yet, doesn't have the BKB, went for the Vanguard, helped him in that one fight, but you know, doesn't scale that well. They do have a Blink on Magnus. They still have this crazy good team fight. I just feel like the setup hasn't been the best. Yanni's Queen of Pain has not been on the same page with the Magnus and the Enigma. We saw the ult come after the fight was over, getting caught out, getting forced back, and eventually getting picked off. This is, you know, this is not the kind of coordination you need if you want to take these fights. And soon, Prophet will probably have a mech. And then if you don't kill them, they turn the fight around in a big way.
You know what I just realized? I hadn't even thought about this. You remember back in the old days, as we've seen an initiation here on Yanni, drops an ultimate from Jakiro. Wow, that was really aggressive. That was pretty reliant upon the Ice Path actually landing, but it did not. Back in the old days of the Blink era, like 6.48B, people used to get Magnus and Quap together all the time. It was like the big combo was polarity into ulti from Queen of Pain.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
I agree. It's
come back around like 5 years later.
Yeah, except Magnus is even bigger and badder than he used to be.
Way badder.
By the way, Jay is going for a Shadow Blade. This is the Pinoys love their Dragon Knight Shadow Blades, and now we're gonna see some tiny Shadow Blade. Might even see a Daedalus after this. You can just one-shot here as if you get a crit coming out of Lothar's, or coming out of that Shadow Walk. So we'll see. But this is kind of a smart build, I think. This is what Mineski want to do. They want to find those instant solo kills. They don't want to fight 5v5. They want to have the advantage. And Shadow Blade Tiny might be the way to do it. Scales a little bit better than that Blink Dagger and gives you some decent attack speed in the new Shadow Blade.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Blink Dagger is going to be better for positioning, but Lothar, or rather Shadow Blade, is going to give you more damage. Like, if you get in there, if you get to where you want to be, it's going to get you the kill. Plus, it's a little more reliable as an escape, to be perfectly honest. I mean, yeah, they can buy dust to counteract it, but a Blink Dagger, all they got to do is just attack you to counteract it. So, I think it's a decent choice here. Now, I'm not saying it's a better item by any stretch of imagination. I'm just saying, well, I'm not against it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And well, guys, for everyone just tuning in, I see we have a lot of new viewers. This is game number 1 of Mineski versus Pagibig.TnC. This is your grand finals for the Philippines Dota 2 All-Stars Invitational. Best out of 3, game number 1. Nobody with a massive advantage right now. It was a big lead for TNC off the backs of some great rotations around the map from the Rubik as well as the Magnetar. But since then, things have really turned around. Mineski's had a couple of clutch team fights, and suddenly they find themselves with a mech and an urn on the Prophet, a Shadow Blade Midas soon to come. Oh, Midas already picked up Shadow Blade soon to come along with the drums on the Tiny, and a Shadow Fiend who's about to get a BKB. It's quite a turn of events.
It's really surprising. If you fast forwarded the game from minute 7 and asked me, you know, would this be the state? I'd say not even close. There was just no way. I mean, 716 has basically turned his farm around insanely. I mean, you look at him, he's got a mech and an urn. Like, he had nothing at minute 10. Literally nothing. He was just getting annihilated top.
Yeah, how many times did they dive him? It was just crazy.
Yeah, it was like 3 times in a row that he was just dead. And since then, he's been 3-0-2. So has definitely turned this around here. And I'm feeling... I think Mineski has better late, don't they? I mean, yeah, they have the mags, they have the big ultimates, so there's never... The thing about this is TNC are never really out of it, even if Mineski gets pretty fat, because you can always hit a Magnus Polarity into a Black Hole, into a Quap ultimate, into a Slardar, and just kill everything. So they're never really out of it unless there's just mass BKBs. Shadow Fiend is obviously B here as his primary item, but it's very unlikely that anybody else will be getting one anytime soon, or at all. Right,
the BKB just helps you survive the magic damage. Here comes the big smoke gank mid. They want to kill off this Slardar. Crush to start. Auto attacks to follow, but the disruption is here. Doesn't matter though, he doesn't have his BKB. The mech bringing him back alive now. Mr. Swish is gonna unwind. Queen of Pain blinks into the Requiem and dies instantly. Now the raise, what a turnaround from Mineski. One by one, they all fall down. Chen next in line, and if it wasn't already Mineski's game, it most certainly is now. What a turn of events. What a clutch disruption from Cell.
Big plays from the Shadow Demon. That was amazing. Wow. An immediate TP from the Furion as well to get that mech off. That was just perfectly coordinated from Mineski. I mean, that was a really good initiation from TNC. It looked like they were just going to annihilate the Shadow Fiend. But that disruption, man, just as Queen of Pain cast her ultimate, so good.
And Queen of Pain just blinking on top of the Requiem. That was just one of the most unfortunate timings ever. Oh boy, just got absolutely annihilated. Blinked into her own doom. That's like jumping into a pit of lava. That is not going to end well for anyone. Prophet cheesing fake TP bottom just to kind of scare away that Magnus. And now gonna TP top, so they're still looking to defend this top lane. They're gonna back off. Ultimate orb up. I think Yanni maybe just disassemble this Perseverance. Go for a Scythe device, because this is a very late Lincolns, and there's a lot of AoE stuns that it won't block. Bottom lane, they find Jay. Will there be enough burst damage? Jay is gonna get bashed and is gonna go down. Immediate buyback. Jay, Bimbo, does not like to spend time dead. Well, the Lothar's Edge can be a nice escape mechanism. Not going to help you with that amount of chain stun.
I question who does like spending time dead. So, if you can come up with a good answer, then maybe Bamboo.
He hates it more than most, I think, though.
I don't know. Bamboo seems to enjoy it.
He buys back a lot.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there from him. He really wanted that tower. He spent a little bit too long on the bottom lane, especially once they saw him push him out mid. He probably could have guessed that, but it looks like the Lothar's coming in here. Now, there is a full 5 heroes here. They're going for the Roshan. He has no idea. They can't kill him, though. Not quite enough burst damage. TP in from the Fury on the backside, but a reverse polarity, or rather an initiation from Bash. Down goes the Tiny, or rather, it looks like Shadow Fiend's going to fall as well. Yes, he does. So a nice counter gang there from TNC, and I think they can probably get a few more here if they keep chasing.
Yeah, Queen of Pain blinks forward. There is an amplified damage on H's Prophet, but everyone is low. It's dangerous for both teams. Regen Rune, let someone else have it. No, he's going to bottle it for himself.
That was a bit greedy. He should have set the bottle down and let Vash or Slardar take it.
Well, this is key because Jay bought back. You know he can't buy back, so you know it's 5v4. You still, I believe, well, no, sorry, Black Hole's been on cooldown for a while, but they still have, they have Crush, they have Telekinesis, they have Avalanche, or Toss, rather, on the Rubik. I think they might have been able to stay and stick with Roche if someone else had taken the Regen Rune, but, well, Lincoln Sphere's up now on Yanni, so that's something good for him. Won't be as susceptible to just the one-shotting from the Tiny combo anymore. Going for a build that's generally going to drag the game out more on the side of TNC. They don't get Roche, but still a decent fight, and Jay blows a ton of gold. Man, he dies twice, buys back. That's probably a Yasha getting close, or getting close to your Aghanim Scepter otherwise.
So he's now sitting at just 100 gold. Since he's bought the Shadow Blade, he's basically accomplished nothing. He got a bunch of farm. I mean, it wasn't like the Shadow Blade didn't get him anything after that. He got some farm, he got some kills, but he's turned it into just buybacks. So basically he's converted all that gold into just a little bit of extra XP. Has not really paid off since then. But that said, it is Tiny. If you just wait it out and you continue to farm and continue getting items, you will become an unstoppable beast in the late game. I expect him to pick up the Ags next, would be my guess. I mean, he's got a lot of utility here with the Django and the Force and the phases and the Lothars, but nothing really as far as actual the big beefy Tiny that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, this is more of just a solo killing kind of build. You come in with the Lothar's Edge, you catch out a hero. By the way, Enigma almost just died instantly. He barely lived in that fight. Then the mech turned it around, but I think Jay didn't execute properly there because he didn't auto-attack first. He went for the immediate Avalanche Toss. If you auto-attack and then do that, that's a guaranteed kill. And I think the fight goes a lot better for Mineski that way. But still, it went okay. And TNC, back into the Roshan pit, and Slardar with that level 2 amplified damage. This Roshan, not long for this world.
Yeah, amp damage is really pretty sick. Minus 14 armor at level 2. Minus 20 armor at level 3 is really kind of... It's almost a joke how good it is. It's just so ridiculous. And of course, giving all the true vision and whatnot. Tiny is hanging out in the trees up here. His Lothar or Shadow Blade is currently on cooldown. By the way, you're not supposed to use the old names like that. They get mad at you. I don't know if I told this joke or not, but during the international, I kept calling Panda... I kept calling Brewmaster Panda, and I got griped at in my ear while we were broadcasting to stop calling it Panda.
It happens, man. It happens to the best of us. But yeah, it is the Shadowy Blade. It is the Shadow Blade. Lothar's Edge is a pretty nice name, but Shadow Blade's not too bad either. I don't have a problem with it. Jay really wants to use this Midas, charging towards the creep wave. Will do so. Now Avalanche tossing the creeps. He's just gonna have... It's split push for Mineski. This is how Mineski traditionally wins most of their games, is this split push, is having these multiple carries, and, well, they're getting their farm. They're, for the most part, not being shut down. It's TNC who really want to force matters. With the Aegis up on the Slardar, he can just jump in first, tank a lot of damage. BKB coming soon for him. TNC not getting too. They're trying to find openings, but Mineski are just dodging away and pushing the other lanes.
Yeah, they smoked right next to a ward. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, they literally had that vision.
Oh, they need a bash. They get the bash. Mr. Swish cannot be pleased about that, but will it be enough? Disruption will be used on the Slardar. Now, SEL, what a hero this Shadow Demon has been this game. Yanni's gonna dive this. No, yes, he is. Blinks forward, drops the ult, unload, Swish is low. Now the turnaround, but that should be it. Blink in, crush on 2. Are they gonna find Mr. Swish? Requiem. Well, I don't think he got it off. I think that was just the Death Requiem, and now wootz. Oh, another crush. This is a great use of the Aegis. 3 heroes gonna fall to this. Yanni about to pick up a triple kill. He will do so on the backlines of play. It's Jay dropping low. Jay did assassinate the Magnus. Now Shadow Blading out of there. Where's the detection? Sentry Ward gets dropped. Jay down to 100 HP. Now earned up from the backlines by 716. Throwing the meta packs out of the helicopter. It will be enough in the end. Jay lives.
TP out. That was a great play by Furion. Really nice choice by Yanni. It looked like he was going to pull back, as you mentioned. Immediately they had to change of heart. Somebody else probably said, just let's go, go, go. And then jumped in there and immediately ended up getting a couple kills on the back of that. So really nice play from TNC, and that's really what they have to do. They have all the initiation in the world. If they're not using it, they're going to fail. They're not going to succeed unless they do so. And they're going to manage to get a tier 1 tower on bottom off of this. There is a Tiny down here. He's playing very aggressive. He looks like he's probably going to get this Enigma. He's going to go for it. We're going to see... Oh, kill the Droto! Forget the... Oh.
Oh, this is Bimbo Dota, but this is also the turnaround from TNC, who always have backup, always come prepared. Jay is getting chain stun. Not a worthy trade at all. Bimbo is just trying to win this game by himself, and frankly, that is not going to cut it when TNC are grouped up like this.
Yeah, honestly, the courier's worth so much more than the hero there. I think if he just runs up, he puts himself in a better position to kill the courier and then get away, so... A bit of a mistake there. Queen of Pain, meanwhile, finds a Furion, but no Hex, of course. We give that for the Lincoln Sphere first. Ooh, that was close.
Yeah, Slardar all over the place.
Yeah, so actually checking the XP and farm a little bit. It's pretty even, pretty close, actually. It's kind of amazing how close it is at this point in the game. Usually by 25 minutes you see a much wider graph, though that doesn't really mean a whole bunch at this point, so for it to be this close is pretty symbolic of how close this game is.
You know, I don't want to say Game of Thrones, but it is quite a back-and-forth, topsy-turvy kind of game.
Yes,
just look at the graph. It's a bit of a roller coaster, you know, up and down, and I feel like we're on a hike right now through the mountains, and we're gonna have to see whether we end up elevated or below sea level. Not clear yet. Jerome's picked up on jessievash. It's TNC who... They're going for a very kind of defensive style of items. Yanni's gone for a BKB and Lincoln Sphere. This is like your I never want to die again Queen of Pain build from Yanni, who has died a few times and then since then has really picked things up. Now it's got to be damage items. Maybe that's Sight Device, but I think you could even look towards, you know, something like an MKB, something just to do that physical right-click damage. This Tiny, even the Shadow Fiend, to some extent they can be kited, and you have a lot of lockdown already on your team. I don't think you really need the Hex this game. I think what you need is some damage.
Yeah, either MKB or Desolator would both be a pretty decent choice. One point of note is that even if he gets a Hex, they're probably still going to get at least another BKB, I would guess. Well, actually, no, probably not. It's probably going to be the only BKB. They said we have an initiation on Yanni. Yanni, of course, with the Lincoln Sphere and the BKB should be full. Wow, that was close.
Man, he really didn't want to use that BKB.
Yeah, seriously, that was insane. He was also a little bit slow on the blink, to be honest. I think he let him get an extra hit in that he didn't need to, although maybe it was on cooldown. Maybe he just jumped in the middle of the farm.
This is Jay. I think Jay's like, you know what? I could go for carry Tiny Belt. This just isn't for me. I'm going to get a Blink Dagger now, and I'll use that to initiate. I'll use my Lothar's Edge or Shadow Blade to try to run away. This
27-minute Blink Dagger after phases of Shadow Blade and drums.
It tells you that this guy likes to play his... I mean, this is just his more comfort zone, is going for... the utility type.
Hey man, do what you're good at. Do what you're good at.
It is a little bit late though. That's the one concern.
It is a little late. I mean, a lot of players and a lot of teams make the mistake of emulating each other and not doing what they're actually good at, so they get kind of stale. We have an initiation here on Vash. It looks like Tiny's going to jump in there with that Blink Dagger and immediately get the kill. Now Chin does lift him up. They're going to buy a little bit of time here. Yanni comes around the backside, drops on a nice ultimate, hitting all 3 heroes. Lincoln Sphere, BKB going to easily take him down. Looks like Cell is going to be able to get away despite the attacks. Meanwhile, Fox on the backside gets stunned here. It looks like we're going to have a TP in from Furion. Not doing too much here. Yanni getting away. Nice black hole on 2 though. Slaughter's going to come in and follow it up with a crush. Queen of Pain jumps on the high ground so they can't get him, but I believe Shadow Fiend going to raise up there. Oh, just barely. misses the second raise. How close was that?
Oh, Yanni's got the gem as well. What a huge escape from him. And how badly did they want the Magnetar to be in that fight? Got burst down to start things off. Swish almost finding the kill. Everybody barely surviving. Oh my goodness. I think everybody left home with some extra Kevlar padding because these bullets are just not being the killing blows that the teams want them to be. And, well, where do we stand after that crazy fight? A little bit of a lead for Mineski, looking like they came out on top overall. Again, the key is that the Magnetar just died before the fight started. If they have a reverse polarity there, that's the death of the Shadow Fiend and the Tiny, and it's a massive victory for TNC.
Yeah, picking off the Magnus is really the deal. If they can continue doing that, I think Mineski are in good shape. If they continue killing Magnus before he can initiate on them, they're going to win this game. The question is, if he ever gets one, will they just lose immediately? Because I feel like if Vash ever hits a big ulti and they ever get a nice combo off, they're going to kill everybody, and they'll probably just be able to push base if there's no buyouts.
Well, that's this is where having the buyouts comes into play. You said it's maybe not an ideal strategy, but let's check them right now. As far as we
just Shadow Fiend and Prophet, maybe?
Yeah, Prophet, obviously he's a key one. Queen of Pain, Shadow Fiend, pretty decent as well. Oh, 716 gets caught. This is not where Prophet wants to be. He will try to drop the ult, looks to be dead. Zapped, surrounded, and brought down. This is, well, you got to be careful when you run the split push. You got to make sure you don't overextend. Was he trying to snipe a tower or something? Oh, he got the tower bottom. That's what he was diving for. Not sure if it's worth being dead for a minute, but
it's not.
Does get a 2-2.
I'll go ahead and answer that question. It's not. That said, he did get the tower, so it's better than dying and getting nothing. So it's the start.
Yeah. And the next Roshan isn't that far off. I wonder if TNC wait for this. I don't know. I think you even give it to your Queen of Pain, just because she is your big damage dealer. You've Blink Daggers on Magnus and Slardar. Nobody's gone for an armlet. In comes Jay, but there's a gem on the field now, and not only is this for dewarding, this is because they're friggin' tired of Jay, and he's not going to be finding any easy solo kills. TNC grouped up as 5. Looking to push this bottom lane, and I think Mineski, you just got to split push, forfeit this tower. You are not defending this.
I think with the BKB and the Lincoln Spear, I'd rather give it to either the Enigma or the Magnus. I feel like if they get those ultimates off, they're going to pretty much decimate them. So I would give it to one of them, to be perfectly honest. Because, I mean, we've seen the last couple battles they've lost because they haven't had both of them. Now, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to have both, but I think it's a better idea than... I feel like Queen of Pain is just going to be fine.
Look at how far... yeah, that's a fair point. Look at how far back Mineski are forced to stand. This is because there's that double Blink Dagger ult. Top lane, it's Prophet. Just respawn. Might be looking to die again. In comes Queen of Pain. Should be able to kill him off. It will be forced to ult, but worth it. Godlike for Yanni. What
Did you say will be looking to die? Furion's like, hey, I want to die, guys. And Queen of Pain's like, happy to help.
Looks like he's gonna die is probably the better way to put it, but he's dead. That's the real outcome of that.
It is true, and that's twice in a row. He had just died bottom as well, so he is not going to have... I mean, he still has buyout. He's been hanging out at 2K gold. He has a Hex as well. I don't know. Can Mineski continue to split push like this if they're just going to keep getting deaths?
No. It doesn't work like that. You gotta trade evenly. I mean, Mineski, sure, you've got... Unless you're really far ahead, then maybe you die and get a Rax, but they're not at that point yet. They're actually the ones who are a little bit... I think if anyone's got the onus to push, it's TNC. Prophet did a nice job of split pushing, but do you really have to be at the high ground? I mean, I think it's okay to push the creeps there, then you back off, but he forces the issue. Gets picked off again. Jay now going back for the Aghanim Scepter, going back for the late game. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Mineski, in theory, on paper, if they get enough items and they have buybacks, they win because they'll have more sustained DPS over the course of the fight. And even if TNC had one big combo, it won't be enough, but they don't have those items and they don't have those buybacks right now, so they're nowhere near a commanding position.
Well, Jay, I feel like Jay just keeps investing gold all over the place, almost schizophrenically. Like, is he like maybe he's playing a what's that game where you just randomly get items? Because literally he bought the Blink Dagger 27 minutes, something like that, and now he's rotating into the point booster. Once he finished the Ag Scepter, which really won't be that far, it's only about 1,800 gold away, then he's gonna have to get rid of something that he's already purchased. Probably drums. I mean,
maybe
what are you gonna do?
Maybe the Midas, but even then, you know, it's not ideal.
I mean, if you're going to go for super late game Tiny, hanging on to the Midas for another 10 minutes is really going to do you a lot of good.
Oh, I agree.
So,
top lane, reverse polarity just for Jay. Now the crush to follow, but I don't know about this fight. BKB's getting pulled, driving Tiny back into the base. Oh man, he just got crushed into the wall. Now onto the Shadow Fiend. Still has the BKB out, but amplified damage will go through that, and he will explode. Mineski again getting caught out of position and getting picked off. Just too slow to run away, and they are paying in spades.
They really just do not have much team fight. I mean, their stuns are literally just tiny. Shadow Demon's kind of a quasi-stun. They had the Hex on Fury, but it's really just Ice Path and Tiny. That's really their entire disable package. A lot of easy-to-kill heroes. Shadow Fiend, not very tanky. Fury, not very tanky. Shadow Demon, less than that. I mean, they really just can't sustain anything.
Right, and it's like we talked about in the pregame. It's Mineski can't really 5v5 clash without a massive advantage or getting pickoffs to start the fights, and it's the opposite. It's TNC who time and again continue to find picks, and on paper they have some good ganky potential. They have a Prophet with a Hex, they have a Tiny with the Shadow Blade, but in practice, TNC have not really been caught out alone all that often. They've done a nice job of moving as a unit, at least the buddy system, 2 heroes together. I don't think we've seen a lone hero alone for a good chunk of time, although now Fox is going to take a risk and go for his BKB, and at the same time, they're also going to get an Aegis. Now the Sight device up on Yanni, so now he definitely can go for damage items, and, well, this is going to make him a pretty beefy hero, especially with that Empower. Level 4 now.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that they have quite a bit of mobility. I mean, obviously the blink on the Queen of Pain as well as the Skewer and the blink on the Slardar, so they could even spread out over a decent area and still immediately get on each other. And since they all kind of have stunts, ooh, missed the initiation there. That would have been huge there if he'd been able to catch Tiny. But that said, I mean, they all have kind of disables. I mean, Skewer, obviously, we have the lift up from Rubik, the stuns from Enigma, Black Hole, as well as the stun on Slardar. So if any teammates near them, they're probably going to be able to counteract what the opposing team's doing, because there's only one BKB and it's on Shadow Fiend.
This has developed into a very interesting game where both teams, they have like a preferred strategy. Obviously, Mineski don't really want to clash right now. TNC want to force the team fight, but this is where having... I mean, is there a better hero than Prophet? Maybe a Battle Fury Anti-Mage at this point, but that's really about it. Just constantly pushing the lanes in. Even with these aggressive lane wards, it's almost like they don't help you, because the lanes are never going to be there. They're always going to be on your side of the river. TNC are mobile, but they're not as mobile as this Prophet.
Yeah, I almost think Queen of Pain should maybe get some BOTs. We used to see this.
Ooh, I like that.
Back in the day, Bamboo used to rush BOTs and Ag Scepter and just play Queen of Pain essentially like a Furion and just chain push. Like you can spam your ultimate nonstop, cut down creeps in no time, and just TP back and forth and really counteract the pressure from a Prophet.
Yeah, for the moment, it looks like Prophet just hoping that someone will get caught alone on this top lane, or they'll leave so he can go push. But he's going to abandon that plan. Now he TP's top. It is developing into, well, a stalling game for Mineski.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a stalemate for about 10 minutes here. We're going to have an initiation here on 716. There is a Hex on the Queen of Pain if she wants to use it. He's waiting for him to try and cancel that ultimate. 716 has his own Hex, so he can literally go for the Hex and then TP out. He finally does it, but I think he's slow on the TP. I think he's going to be able to get counter Hex. Yes, and indeed he does. A big mistake there from 716. A little too slow on the TP.
Yeah, a little bit too slow on that. He'll get picked off, and this is how you deal with the split push, is either have boots to travel or just be in the right place at the right time to punish the mistakes. Queen of Pain, sure, it doesn't have the global mobility, but even just having Blink makes it a little bit tough. And they go middle lane. Looks like a BKB next in line for jessievash. That's going to be triple BKB for this team, and there is not really a great answer for it. Slardar breaks up onto the high ground, giving chase. They want this Jakiro. What a long range to chase into the fight. Jakiro should fall. One more auto attack. Now the BKB up, and Jay's caught out of position. Amplified damage could be applied momentarily. It looks like he's dropping low. He's also mauling. Now chucks him back. What a nice toss, but there is a gem here. This looks to be his death. Skewer back in from jessievash. Finishes the deal. Slams the door in the face of that Tiny. And Mineski, 3 heroes dead, and the death ball is a-coming. This looks to be pretty bad for them.
Yeah, I think this is pretty close to the GG push here. Cell is going to go down almost instantly. Shadow Fiend gets a disruption off on the gets Shadow Fiend. You know what I'm trying to say. SD got the Shadow Fiend disrupted, but then he died anyway. The top tier 2 tower is going to fall. We see a buyback from Yanni, who is he going to pick up some BOTs, or is he going to defend bottom against the Furion? It looks like probably going to defend bottom. Or no, I'm sorry, Furion bought back. Yanni had a triple kill or something.
Yeah, top lane, 4 heroes still here. Rubik has TP'd home. By himself can slow down this push. The other 4 are going to push onto the high ground. You can spam Empower on quite a few heroes. It's got a 40-second duration, 12-second cooldown, so you can give it to 3 of your heroes, all 3 of your damage dealers. This is going to drop very quickly. Now the nuke's coming out. What a skewer by jessievash. This is that reliable waveform swap we were talking about.
It's so ridiculous. He was literally off screen and he just comes like shooting up through my screen and suddenly appears.
Ooh.
Oh, it's so good.
Jakiro actually bought back, and this will prompt them to run away. Now Prophet catches out Fox. Even though they're finding kills potentially, these are very expensive kills. In comes Slaughter. No, it's 716.
Not even a kill.
Oh, I don't know. Purge, nicely timed, force snapping away, just getting caught by the black hole. They try to run away, and then they pull you back in. Oh, unfortunate. But Slardar is going to blink away in the end. Thought he might even try to go back in there, but Tiny does have his eggs. I suppose this is the one nice thing they have going for them. And if the game goes late enough, Mineski aren't too far behind as far as racks go. They do have a late-game Tiny, and they didn't actually lose racks top.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't lose racks. All they got was the tower. They waited as long as they could before any buyouts, and all they really needed was the fearing pressure on bottom forced Rubik back. Of course, Rubik can easily stop that with the Fade Bolts. But, you know, it stalled just enough. It looks like Slardar is going to go down to the Tiny as well. That's pretty big right there. Does Slardar have buyout? I do not believe... Yes, he does. Okay.
Yeah, Slardar has buyback, but you do not want to be forced to use this. Cast is going to hoof it back to the base. Barely escaping the wrathful grasp of this Tiny, and well, he's
he can catch Yanni here. At least he can force a BKB potentially. Yanni's pretty tanky. The fact that Vash is going to counter gang here. We're going to have a skewer running right. He got so far. They have the gym, of course. So he's
the ult whiffs.
Missed ulti. They're still going to get him, but that was pretty costly as far as wasting an ult there.
Well, yeah, Crystal is up on Yanni. I still think it's better to go for this late game right-clicking build. You already have Empower. Your auto techs are really going to hurt, and sure, you could get an Aghanim, so you can have a 40-second cooldown, but it helps you deal with the split push. But I still think this is the correct play from Yanni. This means Queen of Pagan can just let all of her teammates go in first. Tons of AoE, tons of initiation. Then she shows up and cleans up, even if she whiffs the ult. The auto attacks alone are going to bring everyone down.
Yeah, I wasn't saying she should be getting an accept at this point. I was really just arguing for the BOTs. I was pointing out just a way that you can utilize the BOTs in other builds.
Agreed.
As per a good point. Now, interesting choice to go for the Crystals. It looks like she's going to get a Daedalus instead of an MKB. Oftentimes you'll see the MKB over it. Looks like Hyper, or rather WTZ is going to get skewered right back in. That skill makes me laugh so much. You know you can turn your hero while you're doing it, so like Magnus is like spinning sideways.
Steering you around.
Yeah, kind of like Storm Spirit on the minimap where it's like circling in circles. but you actually physically see Magnus doing it. It's so funny.
It's a pretty strong way to initiate, and once you don't have 5, suddenly it's like that one hero who's trying to just spam spells in the back line. The blink and skewer is there, and you just die. And especially when they have the blink hex to start. Speaking of which, they also have a Daedalus up. Yanni now up to 24,000 gold. Pagibig.TnC looking in good position at this point, and I'm not sure if Mineski can stop it. Here's a hero who I almost forgot was in this game. I haven't seen him in so long. In comes the Shadow Fiend, trying to do what he can, which is to say, not really enough. Now the toss forward cast. Dropping low. Shadow Fiend ult used by him to scare them off was stolen. Requiem turned around. Doesn't actually really do anything. And I guess for the moment they defend. They continue to defend. They do lose a lot of HP on the tower, but it's alive, damn it. Now on to Fox. Fox in trouble.
Yeah, Fox is going to die for sure. Actually, Furion should just sprout the ground here. Sprout the ground, sprout the ground. Oh, skewer counter gang. We're actually going to see a massive stun here. Yep. Down goes 2, and we have a cleave, I believe, now on the Slardar. I'm not sure who he actually cleaved it, but either way, they get 2 of them. It looks like the Shadow Demon is going to be the next one to fall. Shadow Fiend is going to survive, but I believe Jakiro is going to die. Actually, maybe you see a... Ooh, nope, Skewer got a long cooldown. You can't use that, but Jakiro does die. And I think with all those deaths, we do see a buyout from the Fury, I believe.
You know, it always amazes me with Mineski. I really feel like they have a gold hack because they always have buyout. It's just unbelievable. Now, obviously, we see why, because Prophet has not progressed at all with his inventory. Just the Scythe Device, the Force Staff, the mech. Meanwhile, you've got a Queen of Pain who's just insanely farmed. Lincoln's Daedalus, Scythe Device, Black King Bar. At this point, Boots of Travel, really the only next progression. Maybe you can give the gem to someone else, but she is pretty much maxed out. The buybacks do come at a cost, but they keep on coming in spite of it.
Yeah, I think they're just going to walk right into the base. We see a nice initiation here on Swish. Ooh, just misses that avalanche. Yanni going to just right-click the heck out of Tiny. I believe Tiny's going to die pretty quickly. Yep, Tiny does go down. Oh, Shadow Demon actually keeps him alive long enough to Lothar's out. Very nicely done. But a black hole on 2 catches, actually 3 as Shadow Demon walked into it. But again, nobody dies. Queen of Pain jumps in there, forces the Shadow Demon to die, so he decides somebody's going to go down. Looks like 716 going to be the next one to fall. Perhaps, potentially, maybe. Oh, crit. Nice time.
And finally, he doesn't have buyback. So with this, I think finally, Pagibig.TnC are going to be able to take a later Brax. Maybe not. In comes the Macro Fire.
Jeez. Mineski are defending like bosses.
This is This is
Surely
crazy.
gonna go down here.
Oh, blinking forward is Tiny. Then tosses the Enigma back. Enigma dropping low. Enigma will fall, but so too will Mr. Swish. Look at this Queen of Pain. When she crits, she just makes them explode. This is like having a nail bat and going to work on a balloon. Shadow Fiend will get popped like one. Now blinking forward. Going for this Jakiro, going for basically the win with this kill. 21-3-9 is Yanni, who had a slow start, missed a couple of bolts, but is still coming through when it counts.
Jakiro's just running in circles, just leading Yanni on a ring around the rosy there, while his team kills the Rax.
No hope for him.
Whatever, Jakiro's buying time, man. Mineski, the kings of buying time. That's what they did this whole game. I think perhaps what they should have done was buy a bit more carry on Tiny. I understand what Jay's doing here. I think it's not a terrible choice. It just didn't quite work out.
Yeah, like at each point in the game, you can point to the blink dagger and say, okay, like I'm having trouble getting in and getting out. So that's why I get the blink. I can blink in, then I can Lothar's out. You know, I want to be able to a little bit more mobile around the map to help deal with heroes like Queen of Pain, Slaughter, Mag, who all had blink daggers of their own. It kind of makes sense in isolation. Then you're like, oh crap, we need a carry. Now I go back for the blink booster. But at each point, the decisions make sense, but the end result just kind of really a jumbled up mess. And I wouldn't point only to him. It's just really him and the Prophet just kept on getting picked off this game. And Mineski, they couldn't have, when you execute split push, you got to be very aware of the map. You got to be very careful, because if you get caught out of position, things start to snowball. You give up Roshan, you start giving up all your outer towers, and then the next level of ganks get easier and easier. And now, Pagibig.TnC gonna take this game #1.
Yeah, they just sacrificed too much for not enough gain. Furion sacrificed too many deaths to not really get enough towers and Raxes. You know, Tiny sacrificed too much gold to not really be able to carry. It was just, you know, little mistakes here and there. And there was a fair amount of good plays from Mineski. I felt like there was a period of time there in the mid game where it looked like they were going to be able to kind of roll into TNC's base, but TNC just, you know, waited it out. They never really hit huge, massive ultis. They just had a bunch of effective ultis. Every time they used one, it did pretty good job. They never dropped the massive combo. As you were, but all of their ultimates are pretty good by themselves, and that's kind of what they did.
Right, it's like they have so many big team fight ults that even if they just use each one to get a single kill, it works out alright in the end, because then you've got heroes like Slaughter with a blink and Queen of Pain who can chase the stragglers down and one by one pick them off. This is typical. This is typical, though. We hear the GG's called, but then not actually GG. Now they're going to find the Prophet. Mineski will be punished for their refusal to leave this game. Prophet to die again. Does he a buyback? Doesn't matter. The answer to both of these questions is no.
What's it called where you enjoy pain, like yourself, like pain?
Masochistic.
Yeah. What is the deal with the pinoy masochism, man? Like you called GG, the game's over. Why do you keep wanting to die? I don't understand.
Get a couple kills, you know. Maybe it's just a gentleman's agreement that both teams, when they win, will have some fun. In they go onto the Tiny. Now onto the Shadow Fiend, who's trying to get off a good Requiem. Blinking forward is Magnetar. He does get the death ult off.
Just died.
Reverse polarity, black hole.
Nice black hole. that was a luminous black hole if I've ever seen one.
You can't even blame Fox. It's just like he wanted to be involved in the fight in some small way.
he's like, look, I cast the black hole, guys.
Let me help. It's like what is it? Like you know, the dad's basically, you know, swinging the bat for the kid, but the kid's like got his two hands wrapped around it, just training in baseball. And well, that will wrap it up for this game. Mineski have not left yet, but this is our second round of GG's, and this will be a Game 1 victory going the way of Pagibig.TnC. You know, it's an interesting clash between, well, Jay to die here for sure, but between sort of like the up-and-coming Dota 2 champs of the Philippines. Pagibig.TnC have a decent fan base. They are going to be representing the Philippines at the Asia. But for the most part, you know, Mineski, 500,000 Facebook likes. I mean, their fan base is bigger than almost every other team combined. It's kind of insane. Sort of the Dota 1 team that struggled as of late. They've made some roster changes. Now they have SEL. Now they have Swish on their team, Mr. Swish. And, well, it was not enough in game #1.
Yeah, they're basically, Mineski's like the Yankees of the Dota scene. I mean, they just have such an immense following.
It is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for game #1. I'm LD. He's Nebula. If you want to follow him, go check him out on Twitter, twitter.com/DCNEBU1A, or Nebula with a 1 instead of an L, just because he likes to be cheeky like that.
No, somebody took my name, and I was forced to use that. And then I just kept going with it. Also, I do blip.tv/DCNebu1A, twitch.tv/DCNebu1A. I don't Haven't used those recently, but I intend to.
Yeah, we'll believe it when we see it. It's been months. It's been months. But, of course, I'm LD, Facebook, Twitter, youtube.com/ldDOTA. All of today's VODs will be available on YouTube and shortly after the cast on Twitch. So thanks for tuning in. This is, of course, only game number 1. This is your grand finals, Mineski versus Pagibig.TnC. Pagibig jumps out to a 1-0 lead. Mineski gives it a good fight, but not enough in the end. Deal in a clean 2-0 sweep, or will Mineski force a game 3? We'll find out after these messages.